If you've ever swung your legs over the side of the bed, placed your feet on the floor, and felt your ankles resist those first few steps, almost like they're stiff or hesitant to wake up with you, you're certainly not alone. Many older adults notice a distinct tightness or stiffness in their ankles first thing in the morning, and as it turns out, this can be more than just an annoyance. It could be a sign that you're more prone to leg cramps, especially those sudden, painful spasms that can strike without warning and disrupt your daily routines. Now, while this may sound concerning, you're not powerless here. There are simple, manageable steps you can take to lessen this tightness and reduce the odds of a nasty cramp sneaking up on you. Leg cramps can seem like a small inconvenience compared to some of the other health concerns that tend to capture our attention as we get older. But talk to anyone who's had one in the middle of the night, sharp, gripping pain that jolts you awake and makes it hard to settle back into restful sleep. And you'll realize this small inconvenience can have a ripple effect on energy levels, mobility, and overall well-being. If the ankles are already tight and uncomfortable when you greet the day, chances are the muscles and tendons around them aren't at their happiest. Addressing that stiffness can be a first line of defense against cramp episodes that can otherwise slow you down. So why does this matter beyond avoiding a bit of discomfort? Because the things that keep your ankles flexible, like circulation, muscle tone, and hydration, are closely linked with broader aspects of senior health, such as balance, independence, and freedom of movement. If you take consistent action to address tight ankles, you're more likely to enhance your blood flow, support muscle function, and keep your body's signals in healthier balance. Over time, this can translate into fewer cramp episodes, better mobility, and even improved confidence in your daily routines. In a moment, you'll discover 4 practical ways to tackle morning ankle tightness from a holistic perspective. Whether you're just beginning to notice that stiff sensation or you've been struggling with cramped calves for years, each of these insights can offer relief and reassurance. Together, they can help you wake up each day with a little more ease and a lot more control over your body's well-being. I share these recommendations from a place of experience in the realm of senior wellness, rather than as a medical directive. It's always important to loop in your healthcare provider for personalized advice. But if you're curious about simple, effective methods to maintain strong, flexible ankles and keep those pesky cramps at bay, you're in the right place. Consider trying the tips that resonate most with your situation and comfort level. Even a few small changes can make a real difference. Before we dive into the first method, take a quick moment to reflect on your own morning routine. Do you jump out of bed quickly, or do you sit for a minute before taking your first step? Maybe you do a little stretch without even thinking about it. This awareness, however small, will help you recognize which daily habits you might tweak to keep your ankles and your whole lower body happier. Let's explore these ideas one by one and see how you might fit them into your life. One of the most common misconceptions about leg cramps and the stiffness that often accompanies them is that they're an inevitable sign of getting older. Many of us have heard some variation of, "Oh, that's just part of aging," which can make us feel like there isn't much to do besides endure it. Bill, who's 68, used to think exactly that. He'd wake up every morning with ankles that felt like rusty hinges. When the occasional leg cramp struck, he'd shrug it off, chalk it up to being no spring chicken, and wait for the spasm to pass. Eventually, though, the cramps started coming more frequently, sometimes forcing him to cut short his daily walks. That was a turning point. He realized something needed to change. Bill's story highlights a major misunderstanding: the notion that pain and stiffness must be endured rather than addressed. In reality, research suggests that many of these cramps stem from muscle imbalances or poor circulation, both of which can often be improved with targeted strategies. One big culprit is waking up with muscles that haven't yet turned on properly. During sleep, blood flow can slow in certain areas, and muscles can shorten slightly if we're lying in one position for hours. A stiff ankle upon rising may be your body's way of saying it needs some help getting back to full function. Here's where practical morning rituals come into play. Instead of hopping straight out of bed, imagine taking 30 seconds to do a few gentle foot circles. While you're still lying down or sitting on the edge of the bed, extend each foot and rotate your ankle slowly in both directions. This can awaken the smaller stabilizing muscles around your ankle and calf, promoting better circulation before your feet even touch the floor. Standing calf stretches, leaning forward with hands against a wall and one leg extended behind you, can also warm up tight calf muscles, which are often the culprits behind leg cramps. If you find it uncomfortable to stand in that position, you can modify by sitting in a chair and flexing each foot carefully, pulling your toes toward your body, and then pointing them away. The emotional benefit of such a simple routine is surprisingly big. Bill found that those extra moments of controlled movement in the morning gave him a feeling of control. Rather than dreading those first steps, he began to see them as a chance to start the day with intention and self-care. Over time, his cramps became less frequent, and he felt more at ease walking to his local coffee shop or up the stairs in his home. Physically, the difference was obvious. Fewer sudden spasms, less morning pain. But emotionally, he also felt more self-assured, knowing he wasn't passively giving in to aging. If your ankles are calling out for some relief, consider trying these gentle wake-up movements tomorrow morning. They might seem small, but even tiny changes can accumulate into a meaningful impact on your comfort and mobility. The next time you sense stiffness, ask yourself, have you given your ankles a proper wake-up call? It doesn't take much to say good morning to your body and help it ease into a smooth, cramp-free day ahead. Now, there's another related issue that often flies under the radar. Footwear. The shoes and slippers you slip into first thing in the morning could be playing a hidden role in your ankle tightness and cramp risk. Sylvia, who's 72, noticed this the hard way. She had a favorite pair of old slippers, soft on the inside, worn out on the outside. For years, she believed they were perfect because they were so comfortable. Yet her ankles always seemed to stay tight well into the day, and leg cramps kept coming back, especially during her afternoon naps. She never connected the dots until a friend pointed out that her slippers provided almost no arch or ankle support. It's a common misconception that soft equals supportive. In reality, when you step into footwear without proper structure, your foot may roll inward or outward slightly, straining both your ankles and calf muscles. Over time, this can increase vulnerability to cramps since the muscles have to work harder to stabilize your foot. For many older adults, the combination of worn-out footwear and naturally decreasing muscle mass in the lower legs can create the perfect storm for morning stiffness and sudden cramps. A balanced pair of slippers or shoes should cradle your foot, providing gentle arch support and enough room for your toes to spread naturally. The main idea is to keep the foot from tilting or flattening in an unhealthy way, which can irritate the tissues around your ankles. If you're uncertain which type of footwear might be best for you, a chat with a podiatrist or physical therapist can be eye-opening. Even a simple in-store fitting session where you carefully test different shoes can make a world of difference. Sylvia decided to invest in a pair of supportive slip-on shoes with a cushioned yet structured sole. The improvement in her morning ankle stiffness was almost immediate. Within a few days, she noticed she could move around her kitchen more easily right after waking up. Although her leg cramps didn't vanish overnight, they started to appear less frequently, and when they did happen, they were milder. Interestingly, she also felt more stable on her feet overall, which is no small thing if you've ever worried about losing balance as you age. The emotional takeaway for Sylvia was reassuring. She realized her discomfort wasn't just part of the deal with growing older. Something as simple as changing her footwear could have a profound impact on how she felt day to day. This small shift gave her a renewed sense of confidence, knowing she was equipped to make smart choices that genuinely supported her mobility. So if you've been loyal to a pair of slippers that are long past their prime, or if you haven't updated your shoes in a while, it might be time to see if your footwear is contributing to your ankle tightness and cramp risk. Next time you put on those comfy slippers, think about whether they're doing your feet any real favors. After all, your ankles do a lot of work carrying you through the day. Why not give them the support they truly need? Before we move on to more ways to ease morning stiffness and reduce cramp risk, now might be a good moment to pause and take stock of what you've heard so far. Have you ever noticed a difference in your ankle tightness based on what you wear around the house? Or are you open to adding a simple foot and ankle stretch to your morning routine? Feel free to reflect on these questions. Sometimes just acknowledging the possibility of change is the first step toward better comfort and fewer cramps. Another crucial piece in this puzzle is your overall hydration and mineral balance, especially electrolytes like magnesium and potassium. It might sound almost too simple. Drink enough water, mind your nutrients, and you'll do a lot to keep cramps away. But consider Robert, who's 74 and always prided himself on his hearty appetite and regular diet. He'd have his morning coffee, a glass of water at lunch, maybe some iced tea at dinner. When it came to fruits and vegetables, Robert tended to stick to whatever was on hand, not paying much attention to variety. Over time, he began to experience more frequent nighttime leg cramps and that nagging ankle stiffness in the mornings. One misconception Robert held was that hydration was only about avoiding thirst. In reality, our body's water and electrolyte levels shift all day, especially if we're on certain medications that can flush out fluids or if we live in warmer climates. Older adults may also have a reduced sense of thirst, making it easy to fall into a mild but chronic state of dehydration. Muscle fibers need a balanced environment to function smoothly. If that environment lacks adequate water or essential minerals, those fibers can become irritable, increasing the likelihood of cramps. Robert's breakthrough came when he visited a nutrition workshop at his local community center. He learned that muscle and nerve function rely heavily on minerals like magnesium and potassium. Foods like bananas, spinach, avocados, beans, and nuts can help maintain healthy levels. But it wasn't just about adding these foods. It was also about cutting back on the excessive sodium hidden in processed meals, which can throw off his electrolyte balance. He started incorporating a wider array of produce into his dinners, switched to lower salt seasonings, and made a conscious effort to drink water consistently throughout the day, not just with meals. After a few weeks, he noticed his ankle stiffness was less intense in the morning. Even more satisfying, his nighttime cramps became less frequent. Physically, this meant better sleep and more energy for daily tasks. Emotionally, Robert felt a renewed sense of agency. Rather than attributing his cramps to getting old, he realized how much his day-to-day choices mattered. Of course, it's wise to consult a healthcare provider when making significant dietary changes or if you're thinking about taking supplements. Some medications and health conditions can be affected by shifts in electrolyte levels, so personalized guidance is important. But the main takeaway is that hydration and nutrients aren't just about checking off boxes on a health list. They have a direct impact on muscle comfort and function. If your ankles feel tight on waking, ask yourself if you're truly drinking enough water or eating enough fresh, unprocessed foods. Even small nutritional tweaks can add up over time, helping your body maintain the balance it needs to keep cramps at bay. Speaking of balance, there's another element that often gets overlooked: the role of relaxation in gentle nighttime routines. Barbara, 79, was one of those people who seemed to be in constant motion. Between volunteering at her church and babysitting her grandkids, she rarely gave herself permission to unwind before bed. She figured that once her head hit the pillow, she could finally rest. Yet her sleep was frequently interrupted by calf cramps so fierce they'd force her out of bed. Frustratingly, this disruption meant she woke up feeling tired, with her ankles stiff and her mood sour. Barbara's initial assumption was that if she stayed busy enough during the day, her body would be tired in a good way and just sleep soundly. The hidden misconception, equating busyness with true relaxation. In fact, high activity or stress levels can leave muscles tense, which sometimes translates to nighttime cramps and morning stiffness. Our bodies need a period of gentle, deliberate wind down to transition from the activity of the day to a state conducive for restful sleep. When we skip that, tension can linger in our muscles, particularly in the calves, feet, and ankles. Barbara started experimenting with a simple nighttime ritual. About 30 minutes before turning in, she'd put away her phone, turn off the TV, and do a brief, calming routine. This included slow stretches for her calves and ankles, a few deep breathing exercises, and a warm foot soak once or twice a week. The effect was subtle at first, but she noticed that she slept more soundly, and her muscle spasms were less frequent. By the second month of these gentle rituals, she found she was waking up with far less ankle tightness, a definite shift from her previous norm. Emotionally, establishing this routine offered Barbara a sense of peace. She felt she was honoring her body's need for a true wind-down, rather than pushing until she collapsed into bed. The emotional payoff was better sleep, fewer cramp episodes, and a more pleasant start to the day. It also helped her mindfulness. She paid closer attention to small signals her body sent, like a hint of tension in her calves, and could address it before it escalated into a full-blown cramp. If you find yourself frequently fighting leg cramps or waking up with stiff ankles, consider whether your body is getting the relaxation cues it needs each night. Even 5 minutes of gentle stretching or a brief foot massage can help your muscles transition from active mode to restful mode. This isn't about fancy or expensive treatments. It's about consciously giving your body permission to release tension so you can enjoy a deeper, more restorative sleep. We've now covered multiple angles, from mindful morning stretches and supportive footwear to balanced hydration and a calming evening routine, all aimed at reducing tight ankles and the potential for leg cramps. You might already be thinking, can I really manage all of these at once? The truth is, you don't have to. Pick the approach that resonates most with you or the one that feels easiest to adopt first. Then as you become comfortable, you can add more layers of prevention. The key is consistency and patience, recognizing that these small conscious changes can stack up and lead to meaningful relief. At this point, it might help to reflect on your routines. Which part of your day, morning, afternoon, or evening, feels like the best opportunity to introduce a new habit? Or is there a place where you notice the most tension in your ankles and calves that could benefit from some targeted stretches or better footwear? Sharing your thoughts with a friend or family member can also spark new ideas. Sometimes just talking through these steps helps us commit to them in a more heartfelt way. Let's briefly recap the core takeaways that can help you greet each morning with looser ankles and fewer cramp worries. First, those gentle morning stretches are a small but powerful way to activate your lower leg muscles before you ever leave the bedroom. Second, don't underestimate the role footwear plays in supporting your ankles throughout the day. Comfy doesn't always mean healthy support. Third, staying well hydrated and mindful of essential minerals can keep your muscles happy and less prone to sudden spasms. And fourth, winding down properly before bed can make a huge difference in how you sleep and how your ankles feel when you rise. Each of these strategies is designed to give you more control over your comfort and mobility, without resorting to drastic measures or complex regimens. The beauty of this holistic approach is that it meets you where you are, whether you're fairly active or dealing with mobility concerns. Even if one method doesn't resonate, another might fit seamlessly into your lifestyle. It's about finding a combination that feels sustainable and beneficial to you. Of course, there's no time like the present to begin. If you've ever been jolted awake by a painful cramp, you know how unsettling it can be and how it can linger in your memory, making you wary each night. That's why there's a certain urgency to addressing these issues. Not out of fear, but from a desire to protect your quality of life. The sooner you take steps, however small, they'll add up to more comfortable days and more restful nights. Imagine your future self a few months from now. Picture waking up to ankles that feel more flexible, giving you the freedom to step out of bed without wincing or bracing yourself. Envision how that could ripple into the rest of your day. Fewer interruptions from leg cramps, less concern about losing your balance, and greater confidence in staying active. This isn't about chasing an unrealistic ideal. It's about harnessing the very real potential of your body to adapt and improve at any age. If you're ready to take that first step, there are multiple ways to move forward. For some, it might be as simple as trying those ankle rotations tomorrow morning. Others may want to look at their shoes or consult with a specialist for a professional fitting. If you prefer a broader lifestyle shift, consider upping your intake of water and fresh produce, or embracing a nightly relaxation routine that truly signals bedtime to your muscles and mind alike. And if you find this content helpful, you could share it with a friend. Perhaps they're also dealing with morning stiffness, but haven't yet pinpointed the cause. For those who want to stay connected, you could continue exploring resources, whether online communities, local workshops, or conversations with healthcare professionals, to gather more ideas on how to keep your ankles strong and flexible. Another excellent option is to jot down a mini wellness plan for yourself. Write out a few habits you'd like to try, note the days you'll do them, and track how you feel. Seeing your progress in black and white can be a great motivator to keep going. At the end of the day, remember that age is not a blanket sentence to discomfort. There are always small but significant ways to nurture your body's resilience. Even if you've dealt with leg cramps or tight ankles for years, your body can still respond to consistent, mindful care. The real takeaway is that you hold more influence over your wellness than you might think. By acknowledging caution, considering your current health conditions, and making informed adjustments, you can steer your daily life toward greater comfort and fewer unwelcome disruptions. Above all, trust in your own agency. Seniors carry a wealth of life experience and wisdom that can guide healthier choices. The strategies we've discussed are here to support you, not to dictate a rigid plan. Pick what suits your circumstances, listen to your body, and adapt as needed. By remaining open, curious, and proactive, you can craft a routine that helps protect against cramps, eases that morning stiffness, and enables you to stay active and engaged for years to come. Here's to waking up with more freedom in your ankles and walking through each day with confidence and comfort.